Vietnam has transformed into one of the most vibrant and promising markets in the world for American exporters, in part due to significant free market reforms. Since the economic reforms of the late 1980s, Vietnam's annual growth rate of over 5% has been second only to China in Asia. With a large population of over 90 million, it has the fastest growing middle class in the region. And with a youthful population born after 1975, most Vietnamese consumers view the US and American-made products very positively. In fact, in little more than a decade, two-way trade between the US and Vietnam has increased from $3 billion per year to over $45 billion. The most promising opportunities are in information and communications technology, healthcare, energy, infrastructure, aviation, and education sectors. The U.S. Commercial Service has offices and experts to help American businesses in the capital city of Hanoi and in the vibrant business center of Ho Chi Minh City. What else does your business need to know about expanding into the rapidly changing, incredibly dynamic, and very receptive Vietnamese market? Why should a U.S. company export to Vietnam?
I think U.S. companies should be looking at Vietnam because it's a high growth market. In fact, last year, U.S. exports to Vietnam increased by over 23%, which makes Vietnam the fastest growing market out of the top 50 markets that the U.S. exports to. Vietnam has many sectors I think are important for U.S. companies to be looking at. There's a strong need to improve the infrastructure in Vietnam, so companies that are working in specific areas of energy, aviation and aviation infrastructure, healthcare, and IT. These are all fields where Vietnam needs to rebuild and improve its current infrastructure. There's also strong demand for U.S. products. There's a very strong perception of the United States and United States products. So areas that we see are consumer goods and also franchising. The fact is, right now, U.S. exports to Vietnam are just, in my opinion, just a small fraction of what they could be. I don't know if there's any one sector that's being overlooked, and I would urge companies, no matter whatever you're manufacturing, to take a good look at Vietnam as an opportunity, especially if you're already doing business in Asia.
Our feeling with the Vietnamese market is that it is an ideal geographic location for distribution throughout Southeast Asia as well into the Chinese and Japanese markets. It has incredible ports. Ho Chi Minh City, as an example, is a thriving metropolis that has a lot of access to the entire Asian market. So we have felt that it was well positioned with the mentality of an aggressiveness and their ability to go into these other markets.
In Vietnam, e-commerce is a growing platform for selling products. We have over 45 million internet users in Vietnam, which is over half the population, and over a third of users are on Facebook. And so this is a growing medium for companies to be able to market their goods and products. Vietnamese still don't use credit cards to a large degree, so companies that are selling through an e-platform need to rely on another financial institution that will do normally a cash-on-delivery payment system for the goods.
We have found that entering into the Vietnamese market, there are several cultural differences. It is a very traditional and respectful culture. As an example, I never crossed my legs. I made direct eye contact. Didn't have my elbows on the table. When I handed business cards, I ensured that both of my hands were on the business card and made eye contact and was very understanding of who all was in the entire room. Also had a pre-understanding that decisions are not necessarily made at that table. They're going to be made by consensus after the meeting, and we must be understanding that patience is a virtue, that we are going to have an opportunity to do great business, but it's not going to come overnight.
I think if you're a U.S. company and you're doing business in Asia, that Vietnam really should be on the horizon for you. This is a country that is still in the developing stages in terms of its economy, but it's a country that has come a long, long way just in the last 20 years, and it really has a very bright future in front of it. This is a country that could be the next Korea within a generation, and I think this is the time, if you're an exporter, to get into the market before it's too late.
Want to learn more about exporting to Vietnam? Explore the Vietnam Country Commercial Guide on export.gov or connect with a U.S. Commercial Service trade professional. Brought to you by the U.S. Commercial Service, part of the U.S. Department of Commerce's International Trade Administration.